Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you different videos and different we will solve different questions together. Let's start with the first one and we will discuss them together. Okay, let's start.
Who in your family do you most look like?
Wait.
Why hasn't this kid inherited his father's dark hair? Why is the shape and color of his eyes similar to his father's? The answer to both these questions is his genes. Genetics are responsible for many of our physical characteristics, such as our hair and eye color. Who in your family do you most look like? Certain traits or characteristics that you have are a result of genetic information that you inherited from your parents. Click the pictures to learn more about heredity. Heredity is the passing of genetic material from parents to offspring. Characteristics or traits, such as hair and eye color, were passed on to you from your parents. The monk and scientist Gregor Mendel performed simple genetic experiments to investigate heredity. By cross-pollinating different pea plants that each had particular traits, he discovered that traits can be dominant or recessive. In his experiments, Mendel saw that some traits were always present from one generation to the next. He called these the dominant traits. In humans, brown hair color is an example of a dominant trait. Dominant means to have the most control or influence. Mendel's theory that some traits have more influence than others explains a simple pattern of inheritance called complete dominance. In his experiments, Mendel also discovered that some traits are recessive. Recessive traits recede or fade away. Red hair color is a recessive trait. How are traits inherited? All organisms are produced from a blueprint or a set of genetic instructions inherited from their parent or parents. These instructions are found in the genetic material located inside the genes within chromosomes in the nucleus of every cell in your body. Click the labels to learn more about genetic instructions.
Let's focus here about these terms just to make sure that you understand these terms. What is the DNA first?
Deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, is a long spiraling molecule of nucleotides that carries the genetic information in your body's cells. In short, DNA contains the instructions that help determine your traits.
Okay, what is the gene now?
A gene is a segment of DNA that gives instructions for making proteins that produce a certain characteristic. For example, the pigment that gives your hair its color. Alleles are different versions of the same gene that produce different traits. For example, the gene that determines hair color in humans has alleles that produce brown hair and red hair.
Okay, let's talk about genotype.
Genotype is the combination of alleles that you inherited from your parents. Your genotype is your own unique genetic makeup.
What about the phenotype? Just hold on.
All organism phenotype is how a trait expresses itself or appears in an individual. For example, having the red hair allele is part of a person's genotype. Having red hair is part of their phenotype.
Okay, so these are the main terms that we studied for in this lesson. Let's continue.
Genes are Every human cell contains chromosomes. Genes are segments of DNA found on chromosomes. Each gene has two versions. Each version is called an allele. Click the images to find out more about alleles. Alleles determine your phenotype, or physical appearance. They determine traits like the color of your eyes or hair. Alleles can be dominant or recessive, but there are also varying degrees of dominance: complete, codominant, and incomplete.
Okay, we studied already the complete and incomplete. Let's continue.
Complete dominance is when the dominant allele completely masks the recessive allele. When even one dominant allele is present for a specific trait, the phenotype shows the dominant trait. For instance, we know that the allele for brown hair is dominant. If a red-haired mother and a brown-haired father have a brown-haired baby, this is an example of complete dominance.
Okay, let's see this one here.
A codominant trait occurs when both alleles contribute to the phenotype. In humans, this happens in blood type. There are actually 3 different alleles for blood type: A, B, and O. The A and B blood types are codominant. If you inherit one A allele and one B allele from your parents, you will have the blood type AB. Incomplete dominance occurs when neither allele is fully dominant or recessive, producing a phenotype that's a blend of the two. For example, if a mother contributes an allele for curly hair and a father contributes one for straight hair, their child would have wavy hair. Genes can influence many traits, but sometimes environment plays a role too. Also, one gene can be responsible for many different traits, while many genes are sometimes responsible for just one trait. Click the picture to see the slideshow to investigate different traits.
Let's see this. These are twins here. So what's the difference between these? How the environment affect the appearance of these two? Let's see.
Twins have the same genes, but environment can affect their phenotype. In this case, the twin who spent a lot of time in the sun has more wrinkles than the twin who spent less time in the sun.
So the gene is affected in the presence of the sun, the wrinkles will appear, okay? So look at this one.
Traits that are learned in one's environment are not inherited. Although this horse has genes that make it possible to be a strong jumper, it learned how to jump well when it was trained to race in a steeplechase.
Okay, how this one for the horse, look at this one here.
Some traits, such as eye color, are affected by multiple genes. Different combinations of alleles can result in different shades of eye colors.
Okay, now I'm going to solve different questions with you in your book. Let's start. How can you tell that this garden do not follow the patterns of complete dominant? How can we tell for this? So this question is in your book, which is on page 16. How do you think this? How to answer this one? The offspring, it's not neither red nor white, right? So the answer here, I can tell how, because the offspring neither what? Red nor white. Okay. There. Let's move now to question 18. This one, identify what antigens code the red blood cells of a person with type AB. What are the antigens he has? What do you think for AB? For sure, for A, it gives antigen A, and for B, if you remember, we said it gives antigen B. So he has two antigen A and B, right? So he has two antigen A and B. Okay, sorry, B, capital. Okay, now let's look at this table here, which is 15. The color of this imaginary fish, okay, is controlled by a single gene. يعني a single gene is responsible for blue and white. Okay, then sketch or describe their offspring if the phenotype follow the pattern of complete dominant, incomplete dominant, and codominant. يعني imagine now it's a gene. This gene, one of these parents is blue, the other one is yellow. What about if it's complete? Blue is dominant to yellow. So if these two breed together, what are the offspring? The offspring here actually there for the first one. Let's write for this one. So for this one, for the first one, if blue is dominant to yellow, it gives what? Blue. Okay, it's heterogeneous, it has B and Y. Okay, if it's incomplete, here for complete, what about incomplete dominance? Incomplete dominance for this one here, the blend it's gonna be the blend of blue and yellow, it's gonna be green, right? What about codominant? If these two together, these genes together, actually blue and yellow together, it's gonna be blue and yellow, right? That I'll ask another questions, or we'll solve another questions together. I'm going to move to page 128 and which is 129 actually. Let's go back to 129. And this 129, you have here a question. Give example of an acquired traits, the things that you acquired traits. Actually, ability to read, ability to write, these are acquired. Read, ability to read, the ability to write, these are example. Okay, you have a question 14 on the same page, which is here down. What advantage does white fur give the Arctic fox winter? Why here? What are the advantage? It can blend with its environment, right? And here it's like let's say it's appear like white. It can't for the other. It can disappear. Here, okay, it can hide actually. Okay, so here the answer. So it can blend to hide actually in with its environment. Okay, copy the answers. Okay, so these are very important. Study these questions. If you still have a question about it, you can send me your questions. Thank you for listening.